Hello, good day. I am Jerlyn Landero, and my assigned topic is all about the least restrictive environment and placement options. First, I want to define what is restrictive environment. So, least restrictive environment is wherein the students with disabilities should be educated with non-disabled peers to the maximum extent appropriate. So the goal of this is to include the student in general education class and activities, providing supports or accommodations when needed. So, for example, in my work right now, I handle under LR principle, which I have regular students together with special needs students. So as a teacher, I really base on their needs rather than I really base on their needs in a way of giving them differentiated activities and instructions, but those activities and instructions are aligned in general subjects. So LREO, when it comes to removal, so removal occurs only when needs cannot be met satisfactorily in regular classes, even with supports and services. So this means that a student with disability should only be removed from the regular classroom if it is proven that they cannot learn or make progress there, even after the school has provided all possible support and services. So, in other words, the regular class should always be the first options. School must have different accommodations, teaching strategies, or assistive technologies. Okay. So, least restrictive environment has a legal foundation. So, we have the first is the idea, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. This is a US law that ensuring LRE. So, this law protects the rights of students with disabilities. So, one of its main principle is the LRE, or the least restrictive environment. So, under this law, every child with disability has the right to receive a free, appropriate public education in LRA. So, that means that students with special needs should be educated with a regular student as much as possible. So, they should not be placed in separate classes unless their needs cannot be met. Okay, the second one is the RA 7277, which is the Magna Carta for persons with disabilities. This is a Philippine law. So in this law, learners with disabilities should be included in regular classes and schools. So we have the school should provide necessary support, accommodations, and services like special education teachers, assistive devices, or modified lessons to help them learn alongside with their peers. And the last one is the RA 10533, which is the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 that promotes inclusive education. So all learners should have equal access to quality education, regardless of their differences in ability, background, or circumstances. So it requires schools to adopt teaching methods, curriculum, and learning environments to have to meet the needs of students with special needs. Okay. So LRE, or least restrictive environment, has a goals. So what are the goals of LRA? So first is to promote inclusion and prevent unnecessary segregation. So promoting inclusions, it ensures the students with disability learn alongside their peers in regular classroom. It prevents unnecessary segregation by providing supports and accommodations instead of separating them. Okay. The next one is to provide access to the general curriculum for all learners. And the third one is to ensure individualized support through the IEP or the individualized educational program. So because the IEP ensures each student with disability receives personalized goals, accommodations, and the services that tailored to their unique learning needs. Okay, in IEP, not we can see there what our goals of the students, the of where's the student's strength and weaknesses, and also we can we can provide some feedback of that specific student. Okay. Okay, now let's go to principles of LRE. Okay. So we have the inclusion first. Okay, just like what I've said, that LRE promoting inclusive education. So we have the regular classroom, that's starting point, and the second one is individualized decision. So based on a student's needs, not disability label. So decisions should focus on each student's unique strengths and challenges, not just their disability label. To for that to provide the most effective support for learning and growth of the child. Next is support and services added before considering removal. So just what like I've said, if that support and services cannot be met by the students, so that's the time na maka-decide o removal. So what are the support and services? So we have to read accommodations and teaching strategies. So and the last one is collaboration. So among teachers, parents, and specialists. So it is collaboration is very important in order to create the best support plan for the students' learning and development. So this is the most important because because in order for the child to have development of their learnings. Okay, so what are the teacher's rule in least restrictive environment? So we have first one is to adapt lessons and materials for diverse learners. So this is to ensure that teacher match students' abilities and learning styles so that everyone can participate and succeed. Next one is collaborate with special education teachers and foster inclusive classroom practices. And the last one is advocating for every learner's right to belong. So this is to ensure that all students, including the children with special needs, accepted, re- respected, and included in a regular classroom. Okay, so that's all for LRE. Now we move on to the placement options. So school must provide a range of placement options, including first is the regular class with support, second is resource room, third is self-contained class, special day school, homebound or hospital instructions, and residential facilities. Okay, first is we have general education classroom. So student stays in the regular classroom full time, receives accommodations, modifications, and support services. So a student with a physical disability, for example, stays in general class all day, so using assistive devices and receiving some accommodations and support services, it can help them to from a teacher aid when needed. So it can help the child to participate, and also it can help the teachers to make para mas masayon o approach sa teachers ang bata. The next one is regular class with resource support. So we have the student spends most of the day in the general classroom, pull out sessions for specialized instruction in resource room. So a student with for example, a student has with a learning disability attends regular classes but goes to the resource room for 1 hour a day for reading support. So like we have kanang naay disability sa regular class, but they have also to pull out for one-on-one tutorial or for one-on-one reading support. That's we call resource support. Now we have the self-contained classroom, smaller group setting taught by a special education teacher. Students received individualized instruction in a separate room for most or all day. So, for example, students with moderate intellectual disabilities learn academic and life skills in small class taught by a, taught by a special education teachers. Okay. Next one is special day school. So separate schools providing full-time special education and therapies used when mainstream settings cannot meet needs. So for example, a student with severe autism attends special day school that provides therapy, behavior support, and individualized learning program. The next one is the homebound or hospital instructions. So for students temporarily unable to attend school due to medical or emotional conditions. So for example, a student recovering from surgery receives remedy visits from a teacher who helps them keep up with school and are in home. So like for example, home tutors, something like that. Next one is residential facility. So student lives and studies in specialized institution, provides intensive education and care services. So example of this is a student with multiple disabilities lives in a residential school where they receive daily therapy, special education, and life skills training. Okay, so there are some factors that determining in placement. First is the student's IEP or individualized education program. So the next one is academic and functional need. So this one is to determine the type of support and environment of a student requires to learn effectively and develop daily living skills. And the third one is availability of services. So this could be important factors in placement because students should be placed where their educational and support needs can be properly met. Okay, the last one is level of independence and social interaction. So this could help to determine how well a student can functions and build relationship in different learning environments. So that's all of my report.